They thought she was harmless. She was small. Wore big glasses. Kept to herself. Never raised her voice. A walking target. But when one of the bullies snatched her glasses and laughed in her face, the next sound they heard was his body slamming into the ground with such force it cracked the floor beneath him. And for the first time, the school fell completely silent. Lena had only one rule for herself: stay invisible. Every school she'd ever been to ended the same. The stares. The mocking. The cruel jokes about her thick glasses and shy voice. So when she transferred to Eastfield High, she didn't bother trying to fit in. She wore the same gray hoodie every day, sat in the back corner of every class, and never looked anyone in the eye. But even shadows can get dragged into the spotlight. Especially when someone's looking for a victim. The boys in the hallway were always loud. Always confident. And always hungry for laughs at someone else's expense. Ricky was their leader. Tall, built like a linebacker, and completely convinced that the world revolved around him. If a teacher wasn't looking, he was usually poking fun at someone smaller. And Lena, with her oversized glasses and quiet footsteps, was the perfect next target. It started with whispers. "Yo, look at her glasses. Bet she's blind as a bat without them." Then came the laugh. And finally, Ricky reached out and snatched the glasses right off her face. "Hey, Four Eyes, how many fingers am I holding up?" he mocked, waving his hand in her face. Lena squinted, blinking hard, her hands trembling. For a second, she looked like she was about to cry. But then she whispered something only Ricky heard. "Put them back, or I'll put you down." Ricky laughed harder. "Oh yeah. You gonna cry me into a coma?" He barely finished the sentence when she moved. It was one smooth motion. A twist. A grip. And then, slam. Lena had grabbed Ricky by the arm, spun him with perfect form, and drove his back straight into the hallway floor. A crack echoed under him. Lockers shook. Everyone froze. Some kids gasped. One girl dropped her phone. A boy muttered, "No way," under his breath. Ricky lay flat on his back, gasping for air, staring up in shock. Lena calmly picked up her glasses from the floor, wiped them clean on her sleeve, and put them back on. The teachers arrived seconds later. What happened? She flipped him, someone stammered. She just flipped him like in the movies. Lena didn't speak. She just stood there quietly while Ricky was helped up by two staff members, still groaning. It wasn't until later, in the principal's office, that the truth finally started to come out. Lena had been training in martial arts since she was 6. Her father, a military self-defense instructor, had taught her everything. Not so she could hurt people, but so no one could ever hurt her again. She'd been bullied for years. Her glasses. Her voice. Her silence. Kids had tripped her, stolen her lunch, even locked her in a locker once. But her father had told her, "You can't control how people treat you, but you can control what you do about it." And that day in the hallway, when Ricky crossed the line, Lena had simply made a choice. Not to be scared anymore. The school didn't suspend her. The video of the flip had already gone viral. Students backed her up. Witnesses confirmed Ricky grabbed her first. And the administration, nervous of backlash, decided to let it go with a warning for both. But Lena didn't care about the outcome. She had stood up. And she didn't regret it. Things changed after that. Some students looked at her differently. A few tried to talk to her, ask if she could teach them moves. Others just nodded at her with respect. But Lena didn't want fame. She just wanted peace. And more importantly, she wanted people like Ricky to think twice before they mocked someone they didn't understand. A week later, in the cafeteria, Lena saw a younger student being teased by a group of kids. They weren't touching him. Not yet. But she saw the way he was shrinking into his seat. She recognized that fear. She walked over, calmly placed her tray beside the boy, and stared directly at the group. "Is there a problem?" They said nothing. And walked away. The boy whispered, "Thanks, but I didn't think you talked to people." Lena smiled faintly. "Sometimes I don't have to." In the end, strength isn't always loud. It doesn't always come with fists or fury. Sometimes, strength is quiet, calculated, and waiting for the right moment. And sometimes, the quietest girl in the room. She's the one who hits the hardest. Moral of the story. Never mistake silence for weakness. The ones who've been broken before often come back stronger than anyone can imagine.